Today we're going to be discussing Season 5, Episode 17, The Rothman Disintegration. And today we are talking The Most Stressful Careers, Rock, Paper, Scissors, Lizard Spock, Benign, Prostatic, Hyperplasia, and Mockingbirds. Stay tuned. Welcome to Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch-along podcast. No PhD required.
We're the podcast that recaps all the episodes of The Big Bang Theory. No spoilers.
So hop into your favorite spot,
Make yourself a grasshopper,
and enjoy the ride. Ahoy, Ryan.
Ahoy, Rob.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Fantastic, because I am ready to talk The Rothman Disintegration.
Oh, yeah.
I loved this episode.
I really enjoyed it. I'm not convinced it added much to the overall story, but as far as like filler episodes go, it was solid, and I don't mind filler episodes like this because it was funny. It had some kind of unpredictable things, some guest stars, right? And yeah, just some funny stuff and some characterization too. So, in fact, some interesting characterization that I didn't realize until this episode that I'll talk about when we get to it.
Nice. Yeah, I mentioned this before. I really like storylines that are fish out of water. So seeing the guys attempt to play sports was just pure magic. And I get like how hard it can be just doing something that you don't know. I did find it weird how judgy Leonard was, because you know he'd be playing like shit too. So it was a little like, well, let's be a little bit more graceful.
In fact, like there's a part where he's like, we've been here for 45 minutes, and I honestly expected him to say a couple hours at least. And like, man, for as grumpy as Leonard is, 45 minutes was not. I think he said 45 minutes.
I think so.
Just
yeah.
Seemed
It's
weird
somewhere
because
in my
like
notes.
it's hard to like get settled down and start to get bored in 45 minutes, let alone like, you know, be so frustrated you're like, let's just stop and I give up on this, right? That seemed like a little bit forced, but you know, if they had said we've been here for 3 hours and it's Saturday night, that would have made sense. But yeah,
I think
he was
it's also because I think the stakes are low for Leonard and everyone else, because it's like, well, one, we have no stakes in getting the office, so who cares if one of you gets the office? And second, you're making us watch basketball.
That's fair.
It's not even good basketball.
And
so I can see why like 45, like I would probably lose my patience after 45 minutes too.
I've talked about my disdain for basketball, so yeah, just like being in a basketball gymnasium would get to me after a little bit. Like the smell, the sounds, it all like grates on me. It's like, I don't know, hyper awareness of my surroundings. Like,
It's like the old experiment of like what they did in psychology when they were testing how color will affect your mood. They would like put prison inmates in a room, and that would be like their cell, painted specific colors. Like pink would actually have a calming effect initially, but then it would actually drive them mad, and it would actually raise aggression levels.
Yeah.
This is your version, like being in a basketball court.
Like, put me in there and aggression rage. Straight up.
His blood pressure is off the roof. It's off the charts.
He's foaming at the mouth. Does he have rabies?
All right, well, before we dive in, a little bit of housekeeping. We have an email at theoreticalnonsensepod@gmail.com. We love getting emails. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's easy and it helps us out. Just scroll down on your phone all the way down to where the stars are and click those 5 stars. And if you actually write something nice, we'll give you a shout out. Find us also on YouTube at Theoretical Nonsense. Like and subscribe. And we actually did get an email. So we actually got a correction email, but not from the Big Bang Theory, but it was we actually gave a very poor shout out to Anna. So Anna, we're very sorry that we did not do you justice.
Very
We
sorry.
actually we said your email or we said your website name wrong. So we actually spelled the URL incorrectly. So we are going to correct that now. So http colon slash slash Lorian Fay. So that's LORIENFAE.tumblr.com. So Lorian Fay, just like she was saying, it's a reference to Lord of the Rings.
And I don't know what happened. Rob and I have talked about this extensively, but instead of Fae, I know what Fae are, so I don't know why it didn't click with me. But apparently I said FGE instead of FAE, right? Is that right? I don't know if that's dyslexia kicking in or just my brain breaking down a little bit, parent brain's getting to me, but I do apologize for that. That seems yeah, I don't know what's going on in my head anymore. But cool website name, definitely FAE, Fae, like the Fae folk, the fairy folk, in Lord of the Rings, right? So yeah,
She did say, Ryan, you did not butcher her poem, so that's
I
good.
that's good. Thank you. However, the blog name is I said it as Lorian FGE, like friendly giant.
Yeah,
I
we
don't know
must
what
have
I was thinking.
that what that was the day where I accidentally fell asleep, right? Like literally right before we podcasted. I don't know what your excuse was, but that's my excuse. But Anna also had a we were asking her where we should start with Doctor Who. So she did email us about Doctor Who and where to start and a little summary of it. So she wrote, I forgot to add about Doctor Who. You guys asked where you should start, and it is absolutely okay to start with the new ones, which is the 2005 reboot slash continuation series. Though it does occasionally have references to the classic series, it also stands on its own. Everything's explained so that viewers who didn't see the original won't be confused. Basically, the show premise is the Doctor is an alien who likes to travel and see different planets and worlds. His spaceship is also a time machine called TARDIS, and he can travel into the past or future. His species is similar to human, but have two hearts and also regenerate. Regeneration is a big plot point in the show. It allows for the character to be played by different actors over the years and continue the show. The Doctor regenerates, his body changes appearance instead of dying when he is wounded or something happens in the plot. The show mostly follows a Monster of the Week scheme, where each episode the Doctor and his companions meet some sort of threat slash villain and have to resolve it. Sometimes there are overarching plots as well as cliffhangers. It's a fun adventure, fantasy, sci-fi comedy show that I enjoyed watching. I started with the new series first, and after that, I went back and watched a lot of the classic episodes. So, yes, I recommend it. Hope you check it out. So, I'm probably going to check it out, and I think I kind of know when I'm going to check it out too. It's going to be a little bit, but I think I told you, Ryan, I mentioned this to you. Like, I might be left alone for like a couple months.
Oh yeah.
My wife and kid might be spending extended time back in Seattle for a little bit, just because summers in Pennsylvania are brutal. They're pretty brutal. And not only is it like 90 on like a regular basis, but it's humid too. It's pretty nasty. So it's a good opportunity for my kid to spend more time with his grandparents on both sides. So it kind of leaves me alone because I still have to go to work. But I'm going to get down to a lot of house projects, and hey, I might start Doctor Who.
I think I'm probably going to be on my own with it too. Kelsey said that she was going to try an episode with me, but she's not that much into sci-fi or fantasy. She's really hard pressed. With that said, she, for some strange reason, I think we've talked about, loves Crawler Carl, that series, and plowed through all. I think there's 8 books now, including the 8th one. In fact, she got a free arc of it to write a review about it. and read all 8 of them. They're huge books, like in 2 months. She was just going to town while she was feeding the baby, while she was changing the baby. And that one is like straight up, like kind of comedy fantasy. So I don't know what about that. So she said she'd try a Doctor Who with me. We'll see. And other than that, I might be on my own and try to plow through it on my own. I'm trying to wrap up a couple other things. I am about to finish. It wasn't that long, but it was kind of hard to watch. The last Buffy the Vampire Slayer season, which was animated like a comic book. Did you ever see that one?
I didn't.
I want to say it was season 8. I don't know. But it's like voiceover, and the comic book is like animated a little bit, but not fully. And it's kind of weird. There's like a wizard cult that's trying to destroy the world, like, so on. There's demons, of course. There's like all the potential slayers in the world have become slayers, and then there's like some evil ones. There's vampires from Japan who have learned magic powers from Dracula. There's for some reason Buffy's sister is like a giant, like she got cursed and is a giant, and just like kind of all over the place. But it's been kind of hard to watch. So I have a couple more episodes of that, and I think I might just try Doctor Who on my own after that if Kelsey doesn't like it. So I can watch it in the nooks and crannies when I have time. But my big thing about it is, I do believe that England celebrates Christmas more than the United States. And I could be wrong on this. It's just from what I've heard, and like Christmas stories and traditional Christmas stories, England seems really hardcore about Christmas, and they have Christmas specials. And I've heard Doctor Who's Christmas specials are among the best Christmas specials you can get in any television show anywhere. And so, like, because I love holiday specials, I'm like, this is my show. I need to watch this. So I'm really like, they would have I remember friends like staying up all night saying, we are going to watch the premiere online and stream it to you on Christmas Day or New Year's Day or whenever it was airing. And I'm like, I wish I could join that train, but I have no idea what's going on with it yet.
Yeah, we'll check it out and we'll keep you posted. Might be a little bit, though.
Might be a little bit.
But, oh yeah, I wanted to say this episode airs on my birthday. So happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday, Rob.
Best birthday gift would be give us 5-star rating.
It's a good gift.
And one thing, before we get started, I know we're a little late on this one because we actually do record a little ahead, but we actually wanted to talk a little bit about Stuart Fails to Save the Universe. So this, if anybody is living under a rock, which, no judgment, because Ryan and I live under that rock too, so we barely get new updates either, but this is the new spin-off show from Big Bang Theory. So they started off with a young Sheldon, and then what was it? The other one, the brother gets married, and their marriage. Crap! Someone's probably screaming at their screaming.
This doesn't
at
even
us
sound
right
familiar to me. So, like, what?
George and Mandy's first marriage. Yeah, so they were characters in Young Sheldon. So then they broke off and had their own spinoff.
Spinoff of Young Sheldon. I get it now.
Yeah, so it's a spinoff of the spinoff. And Stuart Fails to Save the Universe is the next installment. But this fast forwards to the future. So we kind of talked about this a little bit, but again, if people aren't familiar with this, basically the premise of the show is that Stuart gets a hold of a piece of equipment from Leonard and Sheldon that they create, and he destroys it, and he creates multiverses. But we are trying to stay as spoiler free as possible, and I know that's going to be hard because again, Ryan has never seen the series, so he has no idea what to expect or anything like that. But based off what I've seen from the little trailers and from the trailers and clips that I've seen, there really aren't a lot of spoilers. It's more of like you see characters that you will meet much later in the series. And that's really it. I mean, who they are, it's not the most spoilery thing. One of them might be a little bit of a spoiler for you, so I don't know if I should say.
I'm I watched the trailer and I'm on the fence on if I should watch it, and I want to watch it because it looks like a really good show. I think we mentioned that it looks more serious to me, not just like weekly sitcom, but like an actual like not Odyssey, but epic, where it continues each episode builds to something more, and it's not just a weekly sitcom, but they're trying to actually save the world or fail to save the universe, I guess. And
Or
I'm curious.
does he have to save each timeline like Quantum Leap? Like he's actually going to
Oh,
between
he's
multiverses and solve
we
a
get it.
problem and then move on to the next one.
Which
Ooh.
that could be too. And it's on HBO, which made me think that I was going to have more of a story because most HBO shows do have like I guess there's some. Curb Your Enthusiasm, for instance, was more of a weekly sitcom, right? Was that the one with the guy
Larry
who?
David,
Yeah, Larry
creator.
David.
Yeah.
It is really funny, but I think of things like Sopranos or my favorite show, Carnival. I love that show. They didn't actually end it though. It got killed or canceled. There we go. But yeah, most of their show, Band of Brothers. What else? I was like, most of their shows like have an actual story. So I was thinking that, but I guess we'll see. Maybe it's like Quantum Leap or Sliders, where they slide into a new universe every week, and we don't know. But I'm
I
really
watch
curious.
Sliders too. Yeah.
I like that show. It was I don't know why more people don't talk about it, and I heard that it doesn't have much of an ending either. Like they try to continue it in something. I don't remember actually watching the end of it. I was watched the first few seasons, and then I heard they kind of changed it up in a way that got kind of unpopular. I should say unpopular, but anyways, yeah, I'm curious if I can watch this or if it's going to be too many spoilers for our podcast. So you'll have to watch a couple episodes and let me know when it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, Big Bang Theory is a sitcom, so there really isn't going to be that much to spoil, but like I guess some major things do happen to the characters
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you don't really want to know those pivotal moments because you'd like to kind of just learn that like more organically. So
Yeah.
I guess I could always start watching first and then like kind of let you know, I guess.
Don't watch it, Ryan. It ruins everything. There is a lot to spoil. Oh my god. It's too
Well,
late, Rob. I watched it already.
well, one thing I thought might be fun is because they're creating multiverses, and this really isn't a spoiler, but basically there's rumors that since they're in multiverses, you're gonna see different versions of the characters that we know and love.
Mm.
So because it's a multiverse, so things happen differently. It's the butterfly effect. So then I thought it might be fun to kind of talk about things that we would like to see, maybe. So, because I instantly thought of a couple. So I don't know if you put any thought into this. If
You
you
know,
haven't, I can give you a couple examples and maybe you could think about it.
I didn't, but I did notice that in the teaser, Kripke, in one of the universes, is like a dictator or something, and he
Yep.
tries to turn one of the women, who I guess is probably a character in Big Bang Theory. That's what I think you said. Some of the characters are going to come up in Big Bang Theory later seasons, but her and man, I had his name on the tip of my tongue, but the guy with the beard.
Bert.
Bert, he's going to come into it, and like I know he's been in a
Yeah.
lot of things. I know him from there's a cartoon I used to watch decades ago. I want to say early 2000s called Mission Hill, and he was one of the like his voice is so distinct that every time I hear it, like I flash back to that cartoon. Back when I was in college, I think I watched it. But anyways, yeah, apparently Kripke is like taking the prisoner and tries to get the girl to be his concubine or something. And he's
Yeah.
like, wash her and send her to my quarters. And she's like, I'd rather die. And he's like, I understand. Wash her and kill her. So we're gonna see versions of him, but he's also in like some of the scenes looks like he's not always a bad guy. Like he's helping them at times too. So there's versions where he's not a bad guy, and I'm curious of what we're gonna see with that. But I want to hear your examples.
So I would love to see a timeline where Leonard actually has a good relationship with his mom.
Ooh.
I would actually love to see that version. Um, and then I went really dark. I thought I would like to see one where Sheldon's dad lived and his mom died to see how Sheldon would have turned out.
I was going to say, in the very least, a version where his mom isn't religious.
Yeah, there's that one too. Maybe they really like there's a version where they embraced his science, like his love of science, so much to the point where he became an even more super genius or something like that, and then he took over the world.
Or he
He
became like a
doctored.
cult leader and became like all religious based and no science because
Yeah. Yeah, I
I'm
just thought of
also
those two. Like, I didn't give this too much thought because there's too many combinations and everything like that. But I encourage everybody listening out there, send us what you would love to see out of Stuart Fails to Save the Universe. What timelines would you want to see? How would you want the characters altered? Because Kaylee Kuliko, she did not confirm that she was coming back, but an interviewer did ask her point blank, and she just, gave a look. So Penny could be coming. Penny most likely is coming back as a guest star in the show.
I I think I would like one, and it would be so easy to do. I feel like fans would enjoy it. One where Leonard and Sheldon are switched a little bit, and so Leonard is the one with the roommate agreement, and
Hmm.
Sheldon's the more normal one, and how that would balance out and flip that dynamic. So I'd be curious to see that.
Oh God, are they going to do a Penny and Sheldon get together?
Oh
Then
God.
no, Chuck Lorre, nobody wants to see that.
That's not one we want, but the roommate agreement, just them bickering would be enough for me.
I wouldn't mind a timeline where Raj and Penny got together.
Yeah.
So I feel like they could have been good. They could have been a good thing.
It would be so out there that it would be an interesting storyline of how it happened and where they're going, right?
Yeah.
That's something I liked about Back to the Future as well. Back to the Future 2, I should say, where he goes back and sees his ramifications, doing like one little change in how it impacts like the future, and going to a future where things are completely different.
Bit was in charge. Yep.
Yeah. Or even that episode of The Simpsons, right, where Homer goes back in time with his toaster. Do you remember that episode? It's a Halloween. And he he's like, he remembers his dad's advice on his wedding day, and his dad's advice is, if you ever go back in time, don't touch anything because it can screw everything up. And he goes back in time, like, and accidentally steps on a frog or something, and goes forward in time, and Ned Flanders is in charge of the world, and he's giving lobotomies to everybody or something. And then he goes back, and I think in one of them he sneezes, and one dinosaur looks at him and then sneezes and falls over dead, and the next one falls over dead, and like he kills all the dinosaurs.
I was like, this is gonna cost me.
and
then he just like starts destroying everything. Like, oh.
And I think he ends up with the family where everything's pretty much normal, but instead of utensils, they just have long tongues. And he's like, oh, close enough.
I remember that one where he was like, pass the donuts, and they don't have donuts, but then it starts raining outside and it's raining donuts. It's like,
yeah, oh, look, it's raining again. Oh, I love some of this.
But yes, everyone, please email us your thoughts on Stuart Saves the Universe. What timelines would you like to see?
I'll let Rob read those too. So if there's something in the future, and it's a spoiler, he can look at it before I do and let me know.
Yep. All right. That was it. So I think we can finally get started on the episode.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm going to grab a beer before I get started.
I'm going to grab another. It's almost done.
We talked for a while. I'll be right back. We are on Season 5, Episode 17, The Rothman Disintegration. Aired February 16th, 2012, written by Stephen Molaro, Eric Kaplan, and Jim Reynolds. Directed by Mark Sandrowski. Opening scene, the guys are leaving a retirement party for Professor Rothman, who's been actually mentioned before in the series, like a few episodes ago, on 514, the beta test initiation. Um, Kripke actually tells them then on that episode that they're moving the retirement party to Friday at 5 o'clock. So does that mean that the friendship contract and vacation solution are all supposed to happen in the exact same week?
Oh, like consecutively or overlapping a little bit, or
Or something, because in that episode, Kripke, they bump into Kripke, and this is where we had the IQ point about
yeah,
popovers when Raj made his little note from Siri. Because Kripke came up to him and said, "Hey, we're moving up Rothman's retirement party to this Friday." So
yeah,
that means, and then it was a couple episodes ago. So that means those episodes must have happened in the same week. So,
huh,
or it's a continuity error, or they recorded this and wrote them and recorded this and did it and just aired it out of order or something like that, which I've
yeah.
heard happens because I remember like Scrubs had a thing where they did something like it was like season 5 or something like that where like they actually did some episodes like really weirdly out of order.
Mm-hmm.
Like one episode like you're going on normal and then Professor or Dr. Cox has a shaved head and it's not explained at all. And then like
Yeah,
an episode or two later, they explain how he did it and why he did it. So they just aired it out of order.
I've
So
heard
I
about
wonder if
that
the
in
same
some
thing
shows
happened with
too,
this.
or it could just be continuity. Interesting, but
Or that.
I can't remember. There was some show where that happened, and I remember being really confused until like years later. I'm like, oh, I want to say it was a cartoon. I don't know what it was, but
Or maybe we're just thinking too hard.
or
But
that's a
that's why
good
we have this
catch.
podcast.
To overthink shit. That's
Yeah.
what we're here for.
Well, the guys feel bad for Rothman that he was forced to step down. But apparently, they say, like, oh, well, apparently it's common amongst theoretical physicists. So I actually thought about doing an IQ point on this. I started, but it's actually not really real. I think they just added this just for the storyline, just to kind of, for the joke to kind of insinuate that Sheldon is a little nuts and is going to go nuts.
I did a IQ point on stressful jobs, and I feel like we've talked a little bit about it, but then
We
I
act,
started doing research,
we actually
and
did do that. So our season 1 episode 8, we did an IQ point on the careers with the highest suicide rate.
so is suicide rates. So it's a little bit different, and I found some stuff that I thought was weird, and I think it's worth sharing nonetheless. So
Let's hear it.
I'm gonna do it. So I looked at a couple different websites because I don't know how to word this. I don't buy it completely, and I wonder about how the studies are conducted and who's being asked, how they're being asked, and a lot of it is like, oh, we gave them questionnaires. I'm like, do questionnaires fairly interpret stress levels? And like, I went to a Reddit forum where people were bitching and moaning about stressful jobs, and your job's not stressful. You should try my job. Just yelling at each other like that. And one thing that I came out of this, I'm kind of jumped to the end of this and then jump back, is that, well, two things. One, air traffic controllers were not on the main list that I found, which is weird because I've always heard pilots and air traffic controllers have to pay attention to a lot of things and have so many lives on their hands at any given time that it gets to them. But for some reason, they were not on the tops of the list of the two studies I was looking at. The other thing was that,
I think we actually did talk about that and with the suicide rate, and it's
yeah,
I think in the past we mentioned this in the old IQ point that in the past it was at the highest level
mm-hmm,
because of what you said that they had all these lives at stake. But now with the automation of technology and everything like that, everything is just more like computerized. So it
so
actually does take a lot of the thinking out. It's still a high stress job. We're not trying to demean it, but it definitely has
it's not as bad as
technology
it
has
once
found a way to
was.
make it easier.
Makes sense. And so, like, I was looking at Indeed, and the way that I understood that some of these stress surveys were put out were based on high consequences, which would be ATC and pilots. If they mess up, people die. Increased risk, so cops and firefighters. Numerous responsibilities, jobs like CEOs, where one little decision or trying to maintain everything in all departments and figure everything out. Apparently, that was part of it. Intense schedules. That's where healthcare workers would fall into it because they work for like 12 hours, like few breaks, right? And they're always on their feet running around. And then complex tasks. And an example it gave was lawyers. And not all of this qualifies with what the results were. So I wanted to mention those first. And I also wanted to mention because the Reddit forum was belittling service workers, like customer service or food, right? And they're like, if you have to deal with customers, that's nothing compared to being a firefighter. And I would argue that being constantly belittled and attacked by customers day in and day out and told you don't matter, that's a form of abuse that grinds on you. And you might not have lives in your hands, but it's going to impact your mental well-being in a way that a firefighter, where everybody says, God bless you, you're a hero, even though your job is dangerous, that respect gets you by in a way that people spitting on you. And literally, I worked at Walmart and saw people get spit on. Literally, that's a different form of abuse, different form of stress. And like, I don't know if these surveys were really classifying that fairly, but okay. So psychiatry.org said they summarized a study by Aaron Cecil and colleagues, and they claimed that mental health based on, or they found these based on mental health based on lifetime depression, mentally unhealthy days, and frequent mental distress. So not necessarily abuse or exertion or whatever, but they found that free food preparers, healthcare support, and sales and related occupations tended to be top-notch ones. They said the highest ones with the highest depression rates were community and social services. And I think they cited like dispatchers. And then also art, design, entertainment, sports, and media tended to be the high rated depression ones. And I was curious about that too. If the jobs caused the depression or people go into art because they are emotional and had emotional issues. And it didn't really say that. It just said that people said that they were the most depressed in those jobs. And they said careers with extreme distress included healthcare support, food preparation, building and grounds cleaning maintenance jobs, occupations, personal care and service occupations, and sale and related occupations. And then they said that jobs that require high stress tolerance included nurse midwives, nurse anesthesiasts, first line supervisors of retail sale workers, first line supervisors of personal service workers, advanced practice psychiatric nurses, acute care nurses, urologists, judges, magistrate judges, and magistrates, anesthesiologist assistants, and here's the one that really blew my mind: film and video editors were like at the top of the list. And so I thought that was kind of weird and checked another list from stress.org with quotes from American Institute of Stress. And they had the 12 highest stressful jobs. And the thing is, a lot of them were tied. So like place 12 had, I think, like 3 occupations and 8 had like 5, vice flip-flops. So some of these were tied. But places like 12 through 9 included transit and railroad police, who apparently makes and that was something too, is that I don't know about these salaries, but according to stress.org, transit and railroad police plan on getting $76,000 a year. Nurse midwives plan on getting $122,000 a year. Nurse and anesthesiasts plan on getting $205,000 a year. And first line supervisors of retail sales workers plan on about $50,000 a year. So those are 12th place. 8th place through 6th place were public safety telecommunicators, who plan on getting $49,000 a year. And they claim that this was like police dispatchers. And that was weird because I've always heard they get paid quite a bit more. So I'm not sure what's going on there. And that's why I try to look at 2 of these statistics to see if they're accurate. But The next one was obstetricians and gynecologists and they make $277,000 a year, which is kind of showing that the stress level and mental health doesn't necessarily correlate with how much you're making. But I'm assured that making $250,000 a year versus 50, at least eases the burden a little bit. The next one was acute care nurses with $89,000 a year. Number 5 was tied for 5, 4, and 3 place. 5th, 4th, and 3rd place were tied, and that include telephone operators at $41,000 a year. And then we get judges, magistrate judges, and magistrates again, who apparently make about $153,000 a year, followed by anesthesiologist assistants, which apparently is different than nurse anesthesiast. And the assistants get about $125,000 a year. And this is where things start getting really weird. Number 2, film and video editors who plan on making $80,000 a year. And when I looked at the description, they did include news editors. And I have to say that when I worked in the news was the most stressful job I've ever lived in. And people might disagree with how stressful that actually is, but I did feel like everybody else was relying on me. I had to pay attention to detail. I had to get stuff done within minutes. I banked on technology working, and if it didn't work, it was my fault. I had to not only get jobs together and the show together, but I also had to drive for hours to get like stories covered when people weren't around. I had to manage people, get people in places, take care of people. When people were sick, I figured that out. And when something didn't go wrong, it was all my fault, only my fault, and I got yelled at and threatened. My job was threatened. So maybe lives weren't to some extent, safety wise, I would have to get like safety information out to people, like don't take this road, there's ice on it. Not huge, but it was still the most stressful. I can say that was more stressful than working with mental patients who would attack me. So my physical safety was not as stressful as my mental safety as a video news editor. So for what that's worth, it was a very, some people find a lot of reward in that, and it was just too much for me. It's, definitely keeps you awake, but also so stressful. And I was also making quite a bit less than $80,000 a year, but that was also a long time ago, 20 years ago or something. For first place, urologist. I don't know what's so stressful about that, but they claimed it's the most stressful job on this list, with making about $238,000 a year. And I guess that connects with the numerous responsibilities, the intense schedules. I guess risks aren't up there, but definitely complex task. And according to what it did say, high consequences where you are dealing with people's lives and potentially cancer issues and health issues. But I just was flabbergasted that video editors were at the top of 2 different statistics and surveys about this. And again, with the Reddit forums, people saying, I do this, I do that. It's more stressful than that. I think every job is stressful in a different way, and I don't feel confident these surveys were maybe the best ways to really figure out what the stress was. But what I can say is that educators, although we're on the top of some of the lists I looked at, weren't really high on either of these 2 main lists, and definitely theoretical physicists, researchers weren't like anywhere near that either. I didn't see anything about researchers. Educators were on some of them, but not these 2. So I don't think it's as drastic as they're making it out to be.
Nice IQ point. Yeah, it's a good compliment to the IQ point that we did in season 1.
I was going to say it was different, and I tried looking, but I knew we did something, but I'm like, this is different enough that I don't feel like we talked about that at all. But now that you mention it was more suicide rates, so there we go.
Yeah.
I can't believe that was season 1. Jesus Christ.
I know, so long ago.
Oh. We've grown so much.
Well, as they're walking, they come across Rothman's old office, and Sheldon calls dibs. He enters, and Kripke is already there, measuring for drapes. Barry says that he called dibs back at the Christmas party when Rothman tried to have sex with the Toys for Tots collection box.
That's kind
So
of
he should have
dark.
been axed a long time ago, sounds like. Sheldon and Barry argue over who has rights over the office. Then Rothman enters fully nude except for a hat. And the only thing that is taking out of it is like, wow, it's nice that men are wearing hats again.
I give myself a point for being like Raj there. I love hats, and I thought that was a nice looking hat, even if he might have been naked. I I recently had some sort of survey, or maybe it was like a trivia game. Like it, one of the questions was, "What's your favorite defining article or something?" And like it took me a while to even realize what I was talking about, but like piece of clothing or way to customize your look. And Kelsey's like, it's hats, Ryan. You fucking love hats. I'm like, I do. I have like 2 drawers full of hats, and they're stuffed. I have like scally hats. I have baseball caps. I have those hats that go down around my ears, and I love each and every single one of them. So, good for Rothman to have a hat.
Yep. You'd think that Raj would have ended the episode in some sort of hat, but you know
Oh,
what?
that would have been great. He's like, hats are back. I would love that.
I know it would have been a good bookend, but you know what? It's all good. Well, then we get the opening credits, and now we are at Penny's apartment.
Oh, I
And
was gonna say
Amy,
too, the guest star Rothman, did you look into
oh
him?
my
Did he
God,
look
that's so funny. I didn't even look him up, even though he was like in multiple scenes. Shoot.
Yeah. I almost forgot to do him too, but like then it clicked like we've heard of him, but we've never seen him, right? So this is and my understanding this is like the only episode he's in, but I found he's played by Lynn Phillips Siebel. And he was in a lot of older shows, like one-offs, like we're talking like Murder She Wrote and stuff like in the 70s and 80s. And then he got to Mighty Ducks 3 in 1996, and he was like in nothing else until this episode, and he's been in nothing since. That's my understanding. So I don't know why or how he got into this episode,
Who was
but
he in Mighty Ducks 3? Did you write
I
that down?
I didn't write it down. I don't know. Let's look this up really quickly.
Yeah,
Mighty Ducks
I
3. It's
like the
only going to
Mighty
take a second.
Ducks.
He played it somebody named Tom Riley. I'm not sure if I've seen the third one. I
Yeah,
think the first and
that was
second
when
I've
they go
seen.
to like that school, like that private school, or like yeah,
Uh,
they get like the scholarship, and then they were the JV team, so then they had to play against the varsity team.
but I was really curious of if you recognize him from anything because he looked familiar to me, but I didn't see any shows that I really knew him from. And I just thought his story was interesting that he did a lot of stuff and like disappeared until this episode and then disappeared again. He's like came out, it's like I'm going to be in this episode. Not gotta go, and like took his hat
Yeah,
and left. But yeah,
trying to look him up right now to see like
if you knew anything,
he doesn't
but
have
like
he doesn't really have any pictures on his IMDb.
But I think what I was thinking is there's a character in Californication with David Duchovny, right? Did you ever watch that?
No, I never watched it.
He's like a alcoholic writer who, I think the big kickoff in the first season is he's a womanizer and he meets a girl at a bar and has sex with her, and like the next day finds out that it's his ex-wife's daughter-in-law, 17-year-old daughter-in-law, and she ends up
Mm.
blackmailing him for his novel that he just finished. And that's like season 1. And so it's kind of him being a womanizer and getting into trouble like that and doing kind of despicable things. But he meets a guy who I think I want to say he's sober, and he gets the guy drinking again, and he ends up turning up at school naked and walking around naked at school. He's like a teacher. And so I think I'm confusing him with that guy, but they are different actors in different shows. But they
But somebody ends up naked.
end up naked. I don't think, maybe he does wear a hat. Maybe that's what's really kicking me. It's like, did he have a hat? Like,
All right. Well, Amy pops over to Penny's place with a surprise. A huge surprise. And she wants to thank Penny for helping her come out of her shell. And it's the painting. The painting of Amy and Penny. And it is big and it is ugly. But Amy is so excited and she already brought nails and a hammer. So she's ready. Now we cut to the university bathroom, and Sheldon and Barry track down President Siebert to a bathroom, and neither of them have boundaries whatsoever. Siebert tells them, like, hey, I'm trying to do something here and I'm having trouble doing it with you guys around. And Sheldon mistakes that. He says, I don't mean to be an alarmist, but difficulty initiating a urine stream could be a symptom of benign prostatic hyperplasia. And then he offers to send him a YouTube video that'll show him how to conduct his own rectal exam.
I almost did an IQ point on this, and I'm like, you know what? I'm sure the videos are out there, and I don't really need to watch them. I'm okay. I'm gonna just say yes, they exist. So you win that one, Sheldon.
Well, I didn't do an IQ point on that per se, but I did look into benign prostatic hyperplasia.
I thought you were going to say butter.
Butter. I just looked into rectal exams just in general, and it took me to the dark.
It wasn't even an IQ point. I'm just looking them up.
This is how I spent all my time.
My YouTube history is terrifying.
Well, benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH, is a health issue that becomes more common with age. It's also called an enlarged prostate. The prostate is a small gland that helps make semen. It's found just below the bladder, and it often gets bigger as you get older. An enlarged prostate can cause symptoms that may bother you, such as blocking the flow of urine out of the bladder. It also can cause bladder, urinary tract, or kidney problems. Common symptoms of BPH. So listen up if you think you might have it. The symptoms are frequent or urgent need to pee, peeing more often at night, trouble starting to pee, weak urine stream or a stream that stops and starts, dribbling at the end of urination, and not being able to fully empty the bladder. And when should you go see a doctor? You should talk to your healthcare provider about your symptoms, even if they don't bother you. It's important to find out if there are causes that could be treated. Without treatment, the risk of dangerous blockage of the urinary tract can rise. And if you can't pass any urine, get medical help right away. But that's what Sheldon's talking about. But that's not what Siebert means, though. Well, Siebert tells them to figure it out amongst themselves. And Barry decides to go pee since he's already there. And Sheldon says that he's in the spot. And that he actually moves, which I was a little shocked.
That's what I was going to say. I made note of that as far as characterization goes, Sheldon has a little bit more authority, I guess. What would you call that? That Kripke moved.
Like, I know. I was like, why did he tell him to piss off?
Right? In every other stance, he would have. So I thought that was weird. But it does say something about the dynamics, at least just slightly. And I think there was something else later that kind of indicated that too, but I did note that.
Well, now we're back at Penny's apartment. Penny and Bernadette are looking at the painting, both in disbelief. They have no idea how to approach this situation without hurting Amy. Penny suggests saying that Bernadette is jealous, but Bernadette says, well, what if she makes a painting for me? And then we get a bunch of jokes about Penny looking a little mannish.
Which I didn't think she did. Like,
I didn't think so either, but yeah.
It wasn't a super flattering. I wouldn't like a picture of myself on the wall like that, but she didn't look mannish.
Well, now we cut back over to the apartment, and Raj is mad that the handcrafted Harry Potter wand that he bought on eBay is just a stick. I like that. He's like, I ordered a limited edition, and they sent me a stick.
But
But
it's numbered.
then, yes, they point out like, oh, there's a number on it. Oh, it's limited edition. Nice.
Nice.
And then Kripke arrives, and Sheldon wants to hash this out. And if he can't, he'll poison his tea. And it's really not the first time that Sheldon has suggested violence. Yeah, he wanted to kill Jimmy, Leonard's old bully.
Yeah.
He was very quick to go to murder.
Can be murder.
And then Barry arrives, and then Sheldon asks if he wants tea. It's like the first thing is like, hey, Barry, want some tea?
But to be fair, he is trained to offer a hot beverage. It's
Yep,
politeness.
that's true. And I like Kripke's response. He says, am I wearing a summer frock? No, I don't want tea. I was like, why would I want tea? And they aren't able to come to terms, so Raj suggests rock, paper, scissor, lizard, Spock. So the return of rock, paper, lizard, scissor, Spock. And then Sheldon goes on to explain it, the the rules to Barry, and Barry just kind of screws around with them, like, I'm sorry, what? And props to the actor, I can't remember his name, but the actor who plays Sheldon, that he can just memorize all this and crush it so genuinely. Like, I could never repeat all this
with a straight face.
Yeah. Jim Parsons. Yeah, there it is. But yeah, go Sheldon for trying to do it. And just for the viewers out there, I wrote it all down. So let's say it, and see if I could say it as fast as Sheldon.
And I did a little background on the creator, Sam Kass.
Nice.
So we got stuff here.
Is that an IQ point?
I think so.
All right.
I'm going to say with the instructions, directions, and this, IQ point it, baby.
All right. Let's see if I could do Sheldon justice. Scissors cuts paper, paper covers rock. Rock crushes lizard, lizard poisons Spock. Spock smashes scissors, scissors decapitates lizard. Lizard eats paper, paper disproves Spock. Spock vaporizes rock, and as always, rock crushes scissors. But I didn't do any of the hand gestures because we're not even on video. But like honestly, I failed because I can't do the Vulcan.
You live long and prosper.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, I cannot do it. Yeah.
I don't know where I was, a tattoo parlor or something, and somebody was like waving bye to me. No, it was a bank. I don't remember why I was at the bank, why the guy did it.
Someone flashed that to you at the bank?
Yeah, and I go, live long and prosper, and he kind of gave me like a what? I'm like,
oh. Nothing?
We're not on the same page here, are we, buddy?
You know what? Fine. Die fast and furious. Fuck off.
Fuck off. Take that, bank.
All right. What you got?
All right. So I got Sam Kass is the actual creator. And he has a website all for this. Apparently, he used to have a merchandise website on Cafe Press, but it is closed now from what I was seeing. The website, Sam Kass, SAMKASS.com, was, there's a note from 2021 kind of with some updates. I think in 2021, 5 years ago, tried to get into some NFTs and was selling some merchandise with this regarding NFTs and make a little bit of money. I don't know if it went anywhere, but if you look him up, like that's like the first thing that comes up is some stuff with NFTs. And I guess a lot of people questioned it because he has a lot of stuff. Yes, it's the real me. Yes, I'm getting into NFTs, non-fungible tokens, right? And so he's trying to make a little bit of money, but that was one note. And then 2012, he has a note saying that he was on Big Bang Theory and thanked them very much. He also has his resume up there, and so you can see what he's up to, like very formal resume. It was really funny because he apparently does a lot of tech work, knows a lot of computer programming languages. It says he's located in Switzerland now, and he knows German, so he is pretty global. And then what I thought was really funny is this formal resume. At the very bottom, there's an other section, and it says, what is it? he is listed. He is the hailed internet pioneer on Big Bang Theory. That's on his resume, and so I really appreciated that. But the last thing about this is that he has put the game, from my understanding, into rock paper scissors lizard Spock into the Creative Commons BYNC 3 attribution, basically meaning that it's in the Creative Commons. It's like free to use. You can share it. You can adapt it. You must give appropriate credit if you use it for your own means. You cannot use it for commercial purposes, and you cannot add additional restrictions. So you can't like change it and then make it like everybody has to pay me money. Like he's made it like pretty much free to use as long as you credit him and you're not making money off of it. So just something for fun. And he does have some directions. He has a little chart up there of how things go. So a circle diagram or something. Great to look at, but he is real. He, from what I understand, he never ever was able to get to California to be a part of the taping. So no spoilers, I guess, that he's not going to be part of it, but he is mentioned. And I do love that he's the hailed internet pioneer on his resume.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It's on there.
Right? Hailed internet pioneer.
Yeah. Nice.
Imagine like being like a computer programming software firm or something and looking at somebody's resume and be like, what the fuck's that?
A TV show said I was a pioneer, and now you're gonna hire me.
All right, you get the job, buddy.
Sold.
All hail Sam Kass. Hail.
Well, now that Sheldon finally realizes that Barry isn't taking him serious, he challenges him to a duel. He says, I'd smack you with a glove, but just last week I packed away my winter things. And they can't decide something that they're equally good at, so they need to find something they're equally bad at, and they both agree on sports. And honestly, I found it a little hard to believe that Barry was this bad. I can see Sheldon, but Barry, since the first time we meet him, he was really into rock climbing. So there is a little bit of athleticism to him because rock climbing is tough. That's no joke, man. It's like, it is tough.
It is a different skill set, but it is still definitely athletic. So he would not be exerted as much as he's going to be shown, and as like I think later on he falls to the ground in exhaustion, and if he rock climbed, that would not be the case.
Yeah, unless I guess he just stopped or just did it that one time.
That's fair. I stopped. I want to get back into it. I have a 10-punch pass to Vertical World, and I've had it for like, I don't know, since the middle of COVID or something. So it's been several years, and they said it's still valid.
That was your thing for a while.
I was going like 2-3 times a week. I loved it. But then they ended up closing the location that I went to, and I had to drive like an hour or further to get to a location, and the location that opened up by me, they changed a lot, and I wasn't friends with the people who were there, and I couldn't, I felt out of place. So like with the original place, I felt like I was coming home every time I went in, and it's not cheap either. It's like almost $100 a month for membership, and it makes sense because there's insurance, and they have to have ropes, and they also pay people like they have to do new routes like every couple of weeks, or it gets really boring. So they pay people to go up and change routes and all the little holds. So there's a lot that goes into it. It is pricey, and because of COVID and the shifting of gyms, I kind of fell out of it, which is sad.
Yeah, and it requires someone to be there at all times, just from a safety perspective. So, like, having that extra labor cost.
Mm-hmm. And even with, like, bouldering, like, you need... so much can go wrong. So, like, even if you're not top roping or going up high or just going up a couple feet, like, you could jump off and hit somebody. You could fall, and, like, I know the worst I've gotten hurt has been bouldering, where I've like slid and like scraped my arm on the wall or like hit it like on a hold. And I know that I've heard people, they mostly have notes now that you're supposed to climb back down. A lot of people will get like 3 feet, 4 feet off the ground and like jump back down. But apparently if you do that too often, it like, what is that, like mini brain injuries or many concussions that
Oh.
it jostles your brain. So if you do it too much, they say climb back down instead of jumping. Like one time's okay, but if you climb regularly and you're constantly jumping like that, so I've heard. I don't know how much truth is to it, but I've seen those signs and like, yeah, you need people there and some health understanding as opposed to a regular gym. I feel like things are kind of, you put the equipment out and people walk on it. You still have to have some medical training because who knows what's going to happen. Uh, but yeah, I agree that it seems like he would know more. I did want to mention
You'd
that I
think
appreciated,
at least his endurance would be a little higher.
yeah, at least his endurance would be a little higher. I do like that Sheldon offered on the list model trains. He's like Star Trek, model trains.
All right. Now we're at the basketball court, and they establish first to five wins, and neither of them know what that means. And now we have a montage of them both sucking at basketball. They have trouble shooting, they have trouble dribbling, not knowing the rules. And then after several failures, Leonard changes the parameters and says, let's just do a free throw contest. And then it turns into a montage of them failing at the free throw. Sheldon doesn't use enough force. Barry uses too much force and gets the ball stuck in the ceiling. And then they bring in a trampoline, and that's a big fail. And like we said earlier, it's only been 45 minutes. Neither of them have made a basket. And Leonard changes it and says, on the count of three, both of you bounce the ball as hard as you can. The highest bounce wins the office.
I did
And
like
then Sheldon,
Barry hits him in the head with the basketball, and Sheldon, because he did that on purpose. He says,
yep.
nothing here, nothing's been on purpose today.
Yeah. They try to smack talk each other, and it's just not really working out for everyone.
No more smack talk.
Yep. It's here it is. I wrote it down. It's like Crippy says, oh, you are going down, Cooper. Sheldon, I don't think so, Kripke. I've bounced many a rubber ball in my day. It's like, wow.
That
And
reminds me, a little off topic, but I was at a doctor's visit the other day with Kelsey and Autumn, and we were in the waiting room and just a checkup, but there's a woman with like three little girls and a baby in her arms, and so she had her hands full, and I don't blame her that she was letting her kids play, and they were kind of running around causing a little bit of they're being kids, nothing bad, but one of them like kind of walks up to us and spits out a bouncy ball. And it bounces, and she runs and grabs it and puts it back in her mouth and runs and spits it out like a little fountain. like, oh God, no, not at a hospital.
Kids are gross.
So when he said I've had experience bouncing balls, I'm like, I just pictured her going pop. Like, oh God, no.
All right, well, they bounce the ball and Sheldon wins. And Sheldon is happy. He yells out to everyone, who's unsatisfactory in PE now? And like you said, we see Barry slumping down to the ground in exhaustion. So, didn't make a whole lot of sense, but
it was funny and I liked it. It just doesn't go with, for 45 minutes, and him being a rock climber and being a little bit more physical. And also, like, he's made these comments about, like, going to strip clubs and all-you-can-eat buffets. I have to suspend my disbelief that he doesn't know sports a little bit more than what he's acting like here, so. But it was funny. I can appreciate him slipping to the floor and just falling. Like, I'm done.
Either way, it was still funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we cut back over to Penny's apartment, and the girls are watching Grease. And it's Amy's first time. And then Bernadette leaves because she has to get up early. Her company is testing a new steroid that supposedly doesn't shrink testicles. And the last one there has to do the measuring. Good incentive to show up on time. Then the girls leave and Penny takes down the painting. Very easily, which I might add. It was like very like lightweight. I was kind of shocked how lightweight
For
it
us,
is.
they keep mentioning that it's really heavy and that she's not going to be able to do it, but she makes it look really light, right?
Yeah. Well, Amy comes back in abruptly, asking to borrow the movie. And then she sees that the painting has been pulled down. And it clicks that Penny doesn't like it. She takes the painting and storms off. Yeah. And then she's like, I'm glad I didn't make you a sculpture. And now we're at Rothman's office.
Did you hear me earlier when I did that? I muted it, but you laughed, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, I think I laughed at something else. I don't think
Okay,
I was the
I was like, oh no, did I not mute it? So
yeah. Well, Sheldon is with Raj, and Raj is getting sentimental that he's gonna miss sharing an office with Sheldon, and Sheldon doesn't seem to share the same feelings as he says, "Of course you are. Of course you'll miss me." And then he says, "Stop by any time, but call first." And then he shuts the door, and Rothman is still there, fully naked, still just hanging out. He's like, Professor Rothman, this isn't your office anymore. You're retired. And then Rothman says, I think the word you're looking for is invisible. I like that.
That was the highlight of the episode for
Yeah.
me. I don't know why, but
The word you're looking
invisible.
for is invisible. It's really not Rothman.
Mm-mm.
Well, now we're at Amy's, and Penny is there to apologize. Amy points out that their friendship is asymmetrical, that she likes Penny more than Penny likes her. And then Penny rebuttals and says, You can't put a number on friendship, but apparently you can. The painting is 12 feet in area and worth $3,000. Those are both numbers. And then once Amy hit the highest level of despair, Penny tells her the, in quote, truth, that it's actually Bernadette. She's jealous. And Amy just gobbles this lie up and says, it all makes sense. The painting is just a constant reminder to Bernadette that of the three of us, she's the least cool. It's like, totally, Amy. Yep.
Which I think Bernadette's okay with, as long as
she doesn't get the painting.
As long as she doesn't get her own painting. Just don't let that happen. Yeah, whatever.
And then Amy grabs the painting to go rehang it. Because screw Bernadette, she's just lucky we let her hang out with us. Such delusion. And now we're in Rothman's office. But now it's Sheldon's office. We learn of all the problems in the office. So looking back, he probably regrets taking us. He says the air vent is blowing very intensely because the thermostat is in the other office, and Professor Davenport is being hit with hot flashes. There's a huge...
I have two things to say about that really quick. One, it kind of reminded me of... There's an episode in the middle where one of the girls, is in college and ends up with like the shitty dorm in the dormitory, and it's got a huge vent in it for some reason. And throughout the winter, it's pumping in, I can't remember, in the winter, it's pumping in hot air. And so the room's really hot and it's just like dumping all this air in. And in the summer, I think, it's sucking in air for the cooling system. And she gets a pizza delivered and she picks up the pizza and the hole starts sucking and she sucks the pizza up and she goes, the room ate my pizza. I just love that. But as he's putting up these pieces of paper on the vent, like I couldn't help but think of the room is doing this to him. But the other thing, and I didn't do an IQ point on this, but I wanted to get your impression of this. Him saying that Davenport was going through hot flashes, therefore has the AC cranked up. First of all, in all my teaching in the past 20 years, I've never had a room or office where I can mess with the thermostat. Either it's behind like a glass locked box or like it doesn't really work. Like it's there and you can crank it up and it doesn't do shit. So I'm really curious of what offices out there allow their employees, at least educators, to actually do thermostat. Like I don't even know why they were on the walls. In fact, like I remember in some school I was at years and years ago, somebody was like using a pin because the box had like vents on it, and they were trying to notch it up, the thermostat, and they got it, but like nothing happened. So we were led to believe that it was just like a plastic box on the wall, like it didn't even do anything. I don't know. But the other thing was that I once talked to somebody who was convinced, and I'm not shortchanging her, I think she has logic, but had an argument that offices are kept cold because of the patriarchy, and that men prefer colder climates more than women because they like it more, they run hotter, or they function better. And because of that, they keep it colder, and women are often colder, forced to get like space heaters or wear heavier clothes in office buildings. And I was fine. And I'm like, if you want to turn it up, I can be a little high. I don't care. But the thing is, the box on the wall didn't work. So it wasn't my choice. But I was like, whatever works for you. But I thought this was interesting because it's a woman, Davenport, going through hot flashes that is messing with the patriarchy in this case. And I was curious, have you ever had complaints at your business about how cold or warm it is?
Yep, in my building, it's actually kind of weird. So I'm actually in a very unique situation where so my office is actually a kitchen, and then I'm right next to the break room. The thermostat that controls the temperature for both my room and that area and a couple others is all in the break room. So, but the problem is that the way that airflow works and the way that the vents work in my office, it's kind of like messed up. So like the break room where most people control are able to control it, but it does have that glass box over it, so
Yeah.
technically you can't. Um, they do it based off the temperature in that room. So then my kitchen office is connected to like vents and everything like that because like you have a stove, you have a vent and everything like that, and it's always clicking on, so it's constantly pulling the hot air out. Basically, what I'm getting at is I'm constantly very cold.
Uh, I have to say, in my house, I actually bought a thermostat with a lock on it, so a passcode, a smart one, not because it was efficient. Apparently, it is efficient, so I'm saving money. But I bought it because my mom has a habit when she's hot or cold just to crank things. And so I would come down and she'd have my house heated to like 90 degrees. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And then she's like, "I was cold." I'm like, "Set it to like 75. You don't need to go all the way up." Or I'd come home in the summer and like my AC would be blasting and she's like, "I was hot, so I set it to 55." I'm like, "Why the
Oh
fuck
my
would you do
god.
that?" She's like, "I don't know how it works. I just cranked it." I'm like, "Okay, we're putting a passcode on this, and I will turn it up or down in reasonable increments, but you have proven you can't be trusted." So,
Yeah.
so yeah, my house is a patriarchy for that. I don't know.
Yep.
Oh god,
All right, anything else on that?
that's all. That's not even an IQ point. I was just really curious about it because
Uh,
I thought it was an interesting discussion.
all right. Well, as we were saying, the air vent is blowing very intensely because of the thermostat is in the other office. And then you see that there's a huge hole in the wall, and he doesn't know if something was trying to get in or out of the hole. And if you open a window, you hear wind chimes and an out of tune mockingbird. Then there's a vibration from below. It's the geology lab running their sieve shakers.
So
And
I
then
have a couple
uh,
things here. This is where I really shine this episode. Um, First of all, his logic when they go, "Why is there a hole in the wall?" I see myself saying exactly what he says. I've come to two conclusions. One, somebody wanted something in the wall, or two, more terrifying, something in the wall wanted out. And just that logic and him saying it that way, I definitely, I felt a connection there. However, I have a point not like him because I freaking love wind chimes. I recently got a set for my front yard and backyard, and I love them. I walk my dog, and every time I hear some, I look and I love them. However, I remember having a friend who claimed she hated wind chimes, and she said they are the neighborly gift nobody wanted. And I go, that's harsh. I love them. So like I'm always paranoid when I put them up because I'm like, what if my neighbors complain? But who can complain? I love wind chimes.
I enjoy a wind chime.
Right. It's I
Yeah.
think they're beautiful. My other thing was IQ point about mockingbirds
Me,
because
me too.
you want to take this one because I just talked a lot. So let's see
Oh,
what we got.
sure. Um, Sheldon is complaining about the out of tune mockingbirds, and he says that they're able to change their song or their tune, pretty much. So I found this on biologyinsights.com and howstuffworks.com. I learned that there are over 14 species of mockingbirds, and many of them can learn up to 200 or more different sounds, from other birds to a cat's meow or even a car alarm. They use this ability for a couple of reasons. The first is to attract a mate. The more sounds a bird knows, it means they are healthier and more experienced and will likely find a mate. The other reason is to scare away predators. Changing their song can give the impression that there are multiple birds. So this vocal display helps assert dominance and protect resources. It was once believed that mockingbirds would continuously learn new sounds throughout its life, but newer research is suggesting that they might actually learn the most early in life and just maintain those songs as they age. So maybe Sheldon is encountering an older bird that hasn't learned the chime tune, or maybe just unable to mimic it. But that's what I had.
Interesting.
Anything to add to it?
Yeah, I think I went to different websites and stuff, not to counter, to back it up. I I didn't see that fact about them learning more stuff as when they were younger. But it kind of goes hand in hand with some of this. I did find their scientific name is Mimos polyglottos. Glottos. Translated to many tongue mimic. So it makes sense that mockingbird is many tongue mimic. But I, for some reason, thought that was a funny name. Mimos polyglottos. Sounds like a magic spell. So I did find that they often mimic things. They have a habit when they do mimic things. They typically do it in times of like 3 to 6. And so you can often tell it's a mockingbird if it's done in a repeated pattern. If it's like just a actual cat, or I read about a time where it was during like a playing of Peter and the Wolf where flute player was playing the flute and a mockingbird joined in and kind of messed it up or something, and everybody thought it was funny. But the notion is that it's not the actual flute because the mockingbird will repeat it several times as opposed to just a one play thing. What else did I find? I found that researchers also say that they the songs that they sing are mostly original, that only 10% of what mockingbirds play are mimicry. And so maybe it's like you said, partially that they didn't learn it earlier in life, but also they don't mimic as much as we say they do. It's only 10% mimicry, according to texasgov.org or texas.gov Mockingbirds page. What else did I find? Mockingbirds, yeah, sing their own songs, and they do it in phrases that get repeated 3 to 6 times. And this is also something. Do they change tunes? They do change tunes. Apparently, they can change their sound around this is kind of a weird statistic, but 87 times in 7 minutes. So they are constantly fluctuating in their tunes. They do understand tunes. So by all means, the mockingbird might have been doing this on purpose as well, for whatever reason. It knows the tunes. It's just not playing those tunes with the wind chime. So yeah, repetition and sudden changes help distinguish mockingbirds from other birds because it can change so quickly. According to allaboutbirds.com, they this got kind of weird because they said that they mimic other birds to attract mates and defend territory. But not all theories have been fully investigated. And so we're still looking at this, and it's theorized that by mimicking and having all these notes, I think you said this as well, it shows kind of brain power, stamina, and experience. And so it makes the bird more attractive to females. The males are like, I know all these songs, look at me. And the females are like, wow, that's awesome. And birds who don't know the songs aren't as mateable, I guess. However, the mimicry isn't fully known. We don't fully understand it. They don't talk, so we can't ask them. But there is a notion or a theory that it might actually be a problem, from my understanding, that males who learn the wrong song or pick up on the wrong song aren't able to adapt to their environment and show that they know their environment or connect with a female. So if they're playing the wrong song, it might show females like, hey, I'm playing the wrong song. And the females are like, I don't like that song. I'm not going to mate with you. And I like the quote in this that they consider the wrong song a mistake, and mistakes are not perpetuated. So perpetuation is mating and having children who will perpetuate mistakes. So the mimicry might be a problem as well. But all in all, maybe the bird doesn't know it. Maybe it's choosing not to. Maybe it's just not in the 10% that it wants to mimic. Or maybe it's not, it's wanting to mate and it knows that those wind chimes will not let it get some loving, you know? So that's, yeah.
Cool, cool. Anything else on mockingbirds?
That's all I got on mockingbirds.
Nice. Well, now we jump back over to Penny's apartment, and Penny is rehanging the painting, and Amy lets her in on the secret. Amy says, originally we were painted nude, but I had him add clothes because I thought it was more an unnecessary challenge to our heterosexuality. But then she's like, oh, well, if you change your mind, all it takes is a little warm, soapy water and a couple of sponges. It's like, so thirsty.
You know,
Eh,
I'm okay with that mental image.
Yeah.
All things considered, you go, Amy. That's
Yeah, go for it. Well, the ending, we are now back at Sheldon's office. Sheldon's head is stuck in the hole due to scientific curiosity, and Leonard snaps a photo and chills on the chair to post it online. The end.
Like that. His butt is like in the air and his head's in the wall. Like, what are you doing?
It's called science.
It's called science.
All right, well, now we're on the vanity card. Chuck Lorre Productions number 378. I do not interact with Facebook, Twitter, or any of the other social media networking platforms. My reasoning is simple. Why in the world would I want to share my private thoughts and feelings with the world at large? What good could possibly come from me having a convenient outlet to express myself to millions of people? The more likely outcome is that in a misguided attempt to be funny or cute, I'd say something stupid and wind up getting publicly raked over the proverbial coals. Which is why I think the wiser path is to keep my opinions to myself. For example, if I were to feel moral outrage over an organization riddled with pedophiles expressing their moral outrage over contraception, I certainly would tweet about it. And the photographs I've taken by myself wearing nothing but oven mitts and a tiara will never be shared on a Facebook page. The end.
You know, I can't say I connect with that exactly, but I do find myself daily wanting to give up social media. I'm just so fucking sick of it. I'm sick of the bots. I'm sick of the hate. I'm sick of the political divide. And, you know, for a while, it's how I was connecting with friends, seeing what they're doing in their life. But I don't even see that anymore because most of my friends have ditched it because of the garbage that's on there. And, for a while also, like, I was okay with the advertisements because the advertisements were like cool products that I never would have heard of. And, Kickstarters right now, like, I think the best advertisement I can get is Humble Bundles. Do you know what Humble Bundle is?
No.
It's like a charity where they have these bundles of different stuff, and you pay like a low cost, and whatever you pay, like, I don't know, part of it's going towards keeping the site going, but it's also a charity, it's a donation. And so, like, for instance, this week they have like a comic book collection that's like 20 comic books for $18, and most of it are like the first editions or like volume 1 of the comics, so like if you like it you can keep going, but it's still like 20 comics for like less than $1 a piece. They do it with video games too. I don't do PC gaming, so it doesn't really work, but like it'd be like, I don't know, $20 for like 5 to 10 video games that are like actual real games. And I never would know about what deals they're having unless Facebook was advertising. Like, I guess I could go to their website, but I forget. And so, like, even the commercials I was okay with, but now it's like every other post is political debate and usually just really offensive, raunchy material saying, look at this pedophile, look at that. And so, like, him saying something about pedophilia just reminds me of Facebook, people calling each other names left and right, and not even my friends. It's just like paid content, and I'm just tired of it. I would like to take a step back. I can see his frustration with it, and this was 25 years ago. I could see that. Are you even really on Facebook? I don't think you are you?
I have a Facebook, but I'm really only on it just because of my neighborhood, just so I can see updates and everything like that. Because like they do post like a lot of like neighborhood updates of like food trucks that are coming or things that are happening in the neighborhood. So,
scary entities at the edge of the neighborhood.
Yes, they warned me about that. So.
Don't go on the street. I never got used to Twitter, and now it's X, so I don't use that. TikTok, I feel like the actual software does spy on you, from what I've heard. But at the same time, I can't get used to Snapchat, and I feel like if I can't get used to Snapchat, I'm not going to get used to Twitter or TikTok. So I don't know. We were talking earlier about feeling old. I'm feeling old with social media these days, like an old cranky man. I was going to say one more thing about this episode. I liked the idea that they hung the picture on the fourth wall, so it is now the audience. And yes. I don't know if the picture's ever going to come back into it, but I could see them making jokes where they look at it and they're looking at the audience, making jokes to the audience as they look at the picture. So there's some room there. I don't know what's going to go on, but I did like that they got it out of the audience's frame, but they can still incorporate it into the show.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to add on this episode?
That's all I got, and I'm adding up my points. I went up 1 on Sheldon's side and 2 on the other side, and
okay,
I believe that gets me to...
Well, while you're counting that, we got 4 IQ points.
Nice.
Yeah, not too bad.
I am 146, not like Sheldon, 147 like Sheldon. I know in the past few weeks it's been more Sheldon-y, but now we're getting back up there again, so we're kind of neck and neck.
All right. Well, that's it for our episode. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget to email us at theoreticalnonsensepod@gmail.com. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It would be the best birthday present ever, so please, everybody, do it. Give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. Smash that like button, and we will see you next time when we discuss Season 5, Episode 18, The Werewolf Transformation. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Then happy birthday, Rob!
Yeah, thank you. You know what? Fine. Die fast and furious. Fuck off.
Fuck off.